ותחזינה אלינו בשובך לציון ברחמים, ותחזינה אלינו בשובך לציון ברחמים, המחזיר שכינתו לציון המחזיר שכינתו לציון, ובני אותה בקרוב בימינו בגבורה, ובני אותה בקרוב בימינו בניין עולם, ובני אותה בקרוב בניין עולם, ובני אותה בקרוב בניין עולם, וכיסדה מדעת לכוונה לתוך התחתית, וכיסדה מדעת לתוך התחתית, שיר חדש עוברנה Thank you everyone for coming, for joining us for another week of starting off the week strong with Sfirat HaOmer. Tonight I want to dedicate tonight's shir to Leilui Nishmat, to an elevation of memory of a friend of mine, a friend of a few of us here who passed away this week. And his name is Yaakov Yisrael Shlema ben Avram Avinu. And he's an old friend of mine. He grew up with Reb Shlomo. And want every word tonight to be Leilui Nishmato. His neshama should rest in eternal peace in Gan Eden. Amen. Now, this is the week of Yesod. This is the week of foundation. Shlomo once said, when you have a strong foundation, then the leaves, the barks, everything about the tree can be shaken in any direction. Leaves can even fall off. But when there's a yesod, when there's a foundation, you're able to look at your life and not get too freaked out when you see some leaves fall off. Because you know there's a yesod, there's a foundation. And I want to talk about a foundation for a brief moment based on a wonderful story that I heard from Rabbi Yudel Krinsky. Rabbi Krinsky, he should live and be well, Ad Meve Esrin. He was the Rebbe's, Lubavitcher Rebbe's, one of his main secretaries, dating back to the beginning, like mamish the beginning. And he said a wonderful story. He said that in the early year, this is about a foundation. I feel like this is a foundation that we don't really think about too often. But to me, it's a foundation. But especially, I like to talk about whatever the sphere is. Like when I just talk a lot about whatever the sphere of the week is. We just came out of Hod, which was, I never had such a higher week of Hod in my life, ever. Thanks to many of you. Thanks to this home, this yeshiva. Thanks to, obviously, Rabbi Shimon had something to do with it, I'm sure. But the week of Yesod is something I want to talk about, a certain Yesod, a foundation. Rabbi Krinsky said that in the early years, there was some kind of journal that asked the Chabad offices if they can use some of a picture of the Rebbe to promote, I guess maybe it was a Lag BaOmer rally, I don't know what it was. And in a journal. So Rabbi Krinsky gathered together 4 or 5 pictures of the Rebbe, and before he gave it to this journal, he wanted to just make sure it was okay with the Rebbe. So he brought it into the office in 770, and he said that he brought the pictures to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe, he first asked Rishus, he asked if it's okay. And the Rebbe said, of course, and he didn't even look at the pictures. The Rabbi Krinsky placed 4 or 5 pictures on his desk. He said, yeah, it's no problem, but just make sure that whatever picture you use, it's me smiling. That was it. He didn't even look at which picture was used, but he said, whatever picture is used is me smiling. Because that's a foundation. Yeah, it's even that's like, close. The original is maybe a bit more a stretch of but there's something very, very strong in this, because we don't tend to look or to use the imagery of a smile as a key principle in our searches. In fact, when someone's illustrated, if you had to illustrate yourself, what do you look like while you're in your search? Right? I guarantee you 95% of people won't draw a smile for some reason. They always say, thinking that the more forgive me, the more spiritually constipated I look, then I'm closer. And it's such a mind game. It's not where it's at. So as the yesod of our Yiddishkeit and working on the yesod, which is, I didn't bench Sfira yet, but this chesed shel yesod, that there should be a key, it should be crystal clear to us that showing up at Mount Sinai is with a smile. Not just showing up at the mountain. Every day that I get an opportunity to count my days and make my day count should mean that I fully own a smile. It's like the Rebbe said, I don't care what picture you use of me to promote what I'm trying to do, make sure it's a picture with a smile. So on that note, we have the great privilege tonight to be, for us here, it'll be the fourth and final time we meet here, for me, with all of you, after the last 3 weeks, consecutive weeks, of really tremendous evenings of learning regarding certain key aspects we work on during Sfirat HaOmer. In the first few weeks, we were trying to work very deep on what does it mean to become a hero during Sfirat HaOmer. Ezehu Gibor HaKovesh et Yitzro. Those were the first 2 weeks that we were spending time learning about. Mainly based on a piece from Reb Shlomo, based on the teachings of the Magid of Kuznets, Reb Yisrael of Kuznets, the Avodas Yisrael. Last week, we spent a lot of time understanding, we're trying to understand why is it that Dafka, when after I bench Sfirat HaOmer, I say Harachmanu Yachzir Lanu Avodas Beis Hamikdash L'Mekoma B'Meher B'Meinu Amen Selah. Why Dafka do I bring the Beis Hamikdash into my whole Sfira Avoda? It's very strong learnings, and they're all posted. I mean, we have them all online, so make sure if you missed, it's very important. Not that if you weren't here last week before, it's nothing to do with tonight. But tonight, I hope we're going to go even further. We're going to take it even further. Because one thing we're forgetting is that a lot of the Rebbeim referred to this Kufa, this period of Sfira, as Chol HaMoed. The Chol HaMoed, which takes place between Pesach and Shavuos. Now, normally during a holiday, when there's Chol HaMoed, the Chol HaMoed really is a connector between the beginning days of the holiday to the last days of the holiday. Pesach, very clearly. There's the night of Seder, then there's Shvi Shel Pesach. And every day in the middle is a connector, is a bridge between these two concepts. Same exact thing happens with Sukkot, with the first night of Yontiv, connecting it to the end. And I don't want to get into the halachic differences, because Shmini Atzeres is a chag bifnei atzmo, is a holiday on itself, but it ends, it's kind of the siyomet, it's the ending of Sukkot and Chol HaMoed Sukkot, and the simcha of the Simchat Beit HaShoeva, where the bridge, where the connectors. Very important not to forget that we're on this bridge, which began to be built the first night of Pesach. And eventually, it's not a bridge that's like, it's a bridge like this. It's an upward bridge. And the bridge ends on Mount Sinai. And then you realize that now you're only beginning, obviously. It's not like it's ended, Megamarno, and game over. You finish this Chol HaMoed, enter Shavuos, and then something else happens. But what we're going to be doing tonight is getting very clear, not forgetting what happened to us that caused us to be where we are right now, and to remind us where we're heading in a very strong way. We're not forgetting about Pesach, and we're not forgetting about where we're heading as well. Like Chazal tell us, Da me'ayin bata ule'ana ta'olech. Know where you're coming from, and know where you're headed to. But, I said this in the first year, and I'm going to say it again. In the name of Reb Shlomo, freedom without direction is just another form of slavery. It is such an important statement to remember. Freedom without direction is just another form of slavery. So we were given the gift of freedom. And the first night of Pesach, we didn't have to make too much about it. It's just this mind-blowing gift. None of us had vessels for what it was all about. And now we have 49 days to decide, is my freedom shackling me? Or is it mamish freeing me? Is one with direction, which keeps my ben chorin, my freedom, liberated status even stronger? Or is my freedom like, when I wake up in the morning and I don't really have to work on anything because it's okay, I got a sugar daddy somewhere, or whatever it is, but nothing's pushing me to whatever it is. How many times do I type in the letter F in the search engine, which automatically goes to Facebook, right? Or whatever it is that keeps my mind mamish and evet, and where does it come from? So-called freedom. So-called freedom. Now, that was not intended to sound like a Musar speech at all. At all. It's a tefillah. It's really a prayer. Because the little that I've had the privilege of speaking with some of you in this room, many of you, we haven't had the privilege yet. But I know, deep down in our hearts, that we really, really, really do not want to go back to Mitzrayim by next Pesach. In the deepest sense of whatever it meant to us to go through this transformation, liberation, This period of Sfira, we really, really do not want to go back to Mitzrayim. Just like last year, the night before Tisha B'Av, we spent the night on the roof in the old city. It was clear to us. We really, really, really didn't want to have to go through another year, and it's not too late. But we have to, again, dream about what was, but rather dream while it's happening, which, like we learned 2 weeks ago, that's the secret of the month of Iyar, to dream while things are taking place. So, we might have enough. I'm not sure actually, which is always a good sign. And we'll take it from here. And please, if you could have in mind, while we're learning, my friend's name, Yaakov Yisrael Shlomo Ben Avram Avinu. We have such a special text tonight. So special, these words tonight from Reb Shlomo. This is so wonderful. These words, if you want to write it down, I'm sorry I didn't write it on the top. This is from around Pesach time, 1976. In the tape said Florida, but based on who was there, it didn't seem like it was Florida. But then again, everyone goes to Florida on Pesach. Maybe it was Florida. I'm not sure. So it was May or April 1976. Okay. Listen really strong, Chaver. Let's go with this. Everyone knows that throughout the 7 weeks of the Omer, I'm working on building a vessel for that light which was shining down on me Seder night. What was the light which was shining down on me so bright on Pesach? Well, in other words, what is the vessel I'm trying to build during Sfira? That's all we're doing. That thing which was shining on me so bright, Leil Seder, what Reb Shlomo is saying is basically I'm trying to do whatever I can to show up with that light in a vessel standing at Mount Sinai. Like I've shared with you many times. One of the Hippelach once schlepped Reb Shlomo to see Jerry, to a dead show. And when he came back, and even though they once played on stage in the same venue together, that's another story. And that was in Haight-Ashbury in the 60s. But he went to a show. And when he came back, my friend asked him, so Rebbe, what did you think? He said, so much light. Zero kalim. Zero vessels, right? But how could you not, like it? Only if you're completely Chalila, spiritually blind and tone deaf, can you think that there's no light going on at these things, right? But he said, what, on a certain level, what can you do with so much light and no vessels? We know how people would rather not taste the light sometimes when there's no way to create vessels for it. Because you could become crazy trying to understand what am I supposed to, how do I contain such what I would say potential. And when you feel like there's no way to contain such potential, it could make you really meshuggah. Seder night, there was so much light. The purpose of Seder night was not a vessel, not building vessels. It was telling stories to your children. It wasn't trying to contain the light which was coming down. It was just a one night thing, but that was just that one night. Now, matzah, this is amazing. Matzah is called lechem oni, the bread of a poor man. What does a poor man think? A poor man thinks he doesn't deserve anything. And if someone gives him something, it's a gift. Anything which someone gives me and I think I deserve it is more of a business deal than anything else. If I sell you herring and give, he was so into herring, it's amazing. Every share, Julie, always herring was his thing, huh? If I sell you herring and you give me $1, you owe me $1 because I deserve the $1. When you bring me something and I feel it's a gift, that moment becomes special, and I too become special. Now, Reb Shlomo used to divide the whole world into two people. People that have something special in their lives and people that don't. Because if you have something special in your life, that's contagious. If you don't have anything special in your life, great moments can happen to you, but they just come and pass and they don't stick. It's a night of lights with no vessels. That's how he would always divided the world. People that have something special, like he said, if you ask me, what's your favorite Rebbe, what's your favorite Masechta, and all you say is, they're all holy, because that's obviously the from PC thing to say, right? But no, there's an inyan, there's a concept that there's one sefer that is most special to me. There's one friend, not in a level of comparing, but that there's one friend that's most special. This concept of special is a very key piece for tonight's teaching and for understanding what Pesach was all about, and obviously, essentially, what Shavuos is all about as well. Let's continue inside. Who are the real special people of the world? People who don't walk around thinking that they're special. Special people are those who walk around thinking, if I'm a little bit special, it's a gift because you made me special. Like, that's how a special person, a real person, if he feels there is some specialness to him, that's what he feels. If I am special, it's because someone made me special. Now look what he says here. To love somebody means to make them special. But to make them special on the level of a gift, which is what we're going to be talking about. A poor man doesn't know of business deals. He only knows of gifts. Now, obviously, we can stop here, and I want to ask you all, again, to go deep into your hearts right now. And ask yourself, in all honesty and sincerity, what in my life do I truly perceive as a gift? Alavai. You know how much responsibility you have if you say life itself is a gift? You know what your day is like? If you consider life as a gift, do you know what your day is like? Do you know what your world is like? Do you know anyone that's next to you, what happens to them? But let's start with just not life yet, what we can hopefully get there as a goal. But when the whole world feels that life's a gift, then Mashiach comes, obviously. So look what he does here. He's going to go back to the Avot and Imahot like he always does. Everybody knows that Yaakov Avinu loved Rachel very much. What was their relationship all about? They constantly made their moments together special. They made each other feel so special. When Yaakov made Yosef the Ktones Pasim, the multicolored dream coat, he let him know he is so special. Now, obviously, without getting involved with what was going on there. It was a special moment. It was absolutely on the level of a gift. So at the end of Pesach, Yosef HaTzadik is the one who is splitting the Red Sea. What does he mean by that? What does it mean that Yosef HaTzadik is the one that's splitting the Red Sea by the Shvi Shel Pesach? Why is it Yosef HaTzadik that's splitting the Red Sea? Hayam Ra'a Vayanos. The sea saw. What did it see? Yosef's bones, Vayanos, and it fled, meaning it split. Beautiful midrash is, in the schus of Yosef HaTzadik, that same word, Vayanos, that it fled, we find that in the life of Yosef HaTzadik as well, where Eshes Potiphar tries to seduce him. It says Vayanos, Vayetze Achutza. So the same word there, Vayanos, when he was fleeing from Potiphar's wife, so too by Shvi Shel Pesach he's crossing the sea, and the sea sees Yosef HaTzadik. For him, for this covet of the tzaddik. By the way, what's the midah of Yosef HaTzadik? Yesod. Tzaddik Yesod Olam. Yosef HaTzadik. So at the end of Pesach, Yosef HaTzadik is the one who's splitting the Red Sea to teach us that all the specialness we felt from the first night of Pesach is on the level of a gift. And I know we're still in Pesach here, but it's bedafka, to really grind, to not let go of what's been happening for the last 5 weeks in our lives. Now we say, and this should be a zgula for everyone looking for their zivug, kashin zivugim kikriyas yamsuf, to find your soulmate is on the level of splitting of the Red Sea. Now look how he teaches it over here. Imagine I'm going to school and my teacher tells me I'm a very special student. It makes me feel very special. But imagine I meet my soulmate and it also feels very special. What's the difference? Very simple. My teacher makes me feel special on the level of business. I deserve it because of what I have accomplished. I'm a good student and I have a good head. My soulmate, and every soulmate in the world should feel like this. My soulmate is on the level of a gift, not a business deal. Not a shidduch that made sense, not only because of a shidduch that made sense and everything. When I got married, then my in-laws bought me this and my parents bought her this, and everything was politically correct. That in this Indian, why does Reb Shlomo say that splitting the sea is mamish like finding your soulmate? Because splitting of the sea came about because of Yosef Tzaddik, who knew that life and everything we're privileged to is a gift in life. So too, it's pretty hard, the Gemara is saying, to really feel forever that your zivug is a gift. I don't think that it means to find your soulmate is a gift. It is the hardest thing in the world. I don't think that's what it means over here. For years, that's what everyone, I thought like that for years. Kashin zivugim kikriyas yamsuf, splitting of the Red Sea. It's as hard to find your soulmate like it is to find, to split the Red Sea. I think what it really means here is that to hold on to your soulmate and to feel like your zivug is a gift is just as hard as splitting the Red Sea. That's what's just as hard as it. Now, and we'll see why. We're going to connect what we just explained a little bit later. And I know we're going through a lot of text in it, but this is the last time we're meeting, and there's so many things here I wanted to share with you, but it's all surrounded by the same nekuda. I want you to know the deepest depths. The Gemara says that I have a legal claim on God when it comes to food. This is really interesting. The Gemara says I have a legal claim on God when it comes to food. He has to give it to me. You created me. I didn't ask you to create me. Children, till a certain age, have a legal claim on their parents to feed them. You brought me down to this world. I didn't ask you. So you better feed me. Anyone ever feel like these legal claims? Anyone ever? No, you're not connected to these claims? Yeah, he said to a certain age. Yeah, I don't know. It's a great question. I don't know. Babies understand it very deeply. You brought me to this world. You better feed me. They're 100% right. This is the level of bread. Legal claims. He's saying there's a level of bread. Look what he does with this. Really turn off whatever's preventing your heart from taking these words in, because this is amazing what he's going to do right now. The Zohar Kodesh says that a baby does not, the Gemara says this too, that the baby does not know whom their father or mother are until it eats bread. That means that bread gives strength to my mind to be connected to those who love me. That's what the Zohar Kodesh is saying. That's what bread does. It gives my mind strength. It connects me to those people who love me. I recognize, I have a real recognition in my heart, even as a baby, to who my parents are, dafka, through lechem, through bread. Only after I eat bread do I know what life is all about. I know who my father and mother are. Matzah gives my mind strength too. But it gives me strength to not only realize who loves me, but that those who love me is a gift from heaven and not just a legitimate claim. No, Pause for 1 second. I want to talk about this for a second. Bread, according to the Zohar, according to the Gemara, till an infant eats bread, they're not connected. They don't really know who their parents are. What did we say before about parents? That each child has a legitimate claim on their parents saying, I did not interview you guys before I was born and decided, yes, I want to come into this world. You schlepped me here. Now, I want you to know, we can do some really deep psychology right now. Inside each of our neshamas, there is that little bit of a taina on our parents that's saying, how come you didn't make the world perfect for me? I never even asked to be here. I didn't, you brought me here. And you brought me here and didn't fix the whole world? Is that a legitimate claim? And by the way, our parents have it on their parents, meaning this is a cycle. This keeps on going back and right, forth and forth. And it's a hard place to be in. That's a heavy statement. That's a heavy place to be in. Matzah comes and it removes din. It removes the matter of judgment from the relationship. Because what does matzah do? Matzah, we said before, is lechem only. What is a lechem only? The bread of a poor man. What does a poor man feel when someone gives him something to eat? That it's a gift. It's not about claims that I deserve it or not. Matzah comes and it says, but your parents, even though it's true, you do have a legitimate claim to say, how come you didn't fix the whole world? You have to feed me. Matzah comes and says, but are you still able to see that it's a gift? Even these people that you could have a claim on, it's still a gift to be born to these parents. And that's so wonderful. That's such a peaceful, that's shalva. That's like, how do you say shalva? It's like serenity, yeah. It's this place of, it's not like, okay, we resolved the conflict. I feel like you brought me here and it's okay because I still feel like you're a gift. That it's a gift. That's not what we're talking about. What matzah does is that it releases us from slavery, from the slavery of walking around having claims on the world. Now we're not talking about Egypt. Now we're talking about our own lives, all the legitimate claims that we have that Reb Shlomo said, so many people can have excuses why they haven't been able to step out of their Dalit Amos of comfort and really become free. And Reb Shlomo said they could even be holy excuses and just excuses. They're right. Your claims are right. You don't deserve this bad life. But at the end of the day, there's still excuses. No matter what you want to use, there's still excuses. Matzah, the bread of the poor man. When I eat matzah, I take my da'at. This is so deep. I take my da'at and I say, I could use my sense right now to stick to those claims and demands and expectations. I could stick to them and they're legit. But at the end of the day, where am I going with them? I could keep on holding on to this. This is so important. I could keep holding on to all the things that I know it's okay if I hold by them. Like it's right. There's a legal claim I have, but I'll just keep on holding on to them. It's just a very horrible form of slavery. Matzah comes and it's the bread of a poor man. It reminds me, everything is a gift. Even to have the privilege to have claims on someone is a gift. And that's what's called hamtakas hadinim, sweetening the judgments in terms of, in this scenario, not the way it's referenced in all the Sefer Chasidus, but there's a sweetening of judgment. That's what matzah brings to my life. I sweeten the legitimate claims that were really holding a very, very heavy place in my life. And again, I'm not trying to convince you that you're wrong. You're right. I'll even tell you you're 100% right. Everything you tie on me is right. It's like a famous story. Two people came before the Rishner. They were having a dispute. And one of them was so convinced that he was right. So the Rishner said to him, Mashiach probably won't come for you. He said, why? He said, Mashiach's not coming for all those who are sure that they're right. Mashiach's coming from people who aren't sure that they're right. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. It's irrelevant. Meaning Mashiach comes for those who are willing to give up on all those things that they say, I swear by it. This and this has to happen because so and so, because I suffered enough, because I went through this, because I went through that. This was the beginning of Pesach. This was Seder night. The light that came down was so great that I stopped having claims, even legitimate claims, on all the things in life that held me back. Think about it. Did you and I choose to be born into the limitations that our homes had, our schooling had, our society had, our religion had? Did we choose to be born into that world that was suffocating us from the youngest age that we can remember? Of course we did. So being, rebellious and all that, it's all good and it's right. But at a certain point, when do you crack out of that and realize how much emphasis have I've been putting on the rebellion as opposed to trying to sweeten the judgments? Is this too wacky, or it's a little bit there? Okay. No, some of your faces are telling me I don't even know what to, I should be tuning more into your hearts than your faces, because this is very deep stuff. Okay, so this is the light, kind of a liberating feeling it is to be okay with letting go with all your holy excuses in life. There's no such liberation. There's no such liberation. It's the greatest feeling in the world. Okay, next page. So on Pesach, a very fast shift took place in the way which I understand my life, but not for too long. For one night, life truly felt like a gift. And here I want you to open your hearts in the deepest depths. When you love somebody very much and everything feels so high, it's possible that the next day you wake up and it's an ordinary day like any other day. What does it say about what you were feeling yesterday? You might start feeling like you're crazy. Now, this is not just about someone you love. This is about high moments you reached in life, moments of clarity, moments of divine inspiration, of a revolution and a revelation taking place in your heart. You have that one morning and it's so real. And it's not caused by any substances, it's real. The next day, it's not there. So you start doubting yourself, saying, wait a second, was it real yesterday? Was that for real? You see, that's what could have happened to us. Imagine if there was no Sfiras HaOmer, Pesach would have been the biggest tease in the world. Seder night would have been the biggest tease in the world if there was no Sfirat HaOmer. Why? We'll see right now. The absolute greatest light was shining in the world on Seder night, but one day later we had to start all over again. And the question is, why did God, so to speak, take away this feeling of special? Right? There was one night I felt like life was a gift. I felt like everything was special. Everything was mamish like a lechem oni. That's what the matzah resembled. Everything in life was a gift. I had it. I had it for one moment. And then you take it away from me, God? Then the claims come back. Oh my God, I'd rather if you didn't give it to me in the first place. What kind of a God are you? I never had those feelings. I'd rather, you know what? I don't want the highs. I don't want the lows. Don't blow my mind, God. Let me just be able to get my act together without being too fragile here or there. I don't want to taste the high if it means that there's a possibility that I might sink into the lowest of lows the next day. That's a very legitimate claim, nachon? That's totally a legitimate claim. Now look what he says here. Everybody wants to be high every moment. But this is not the secret of life. The secret of life is how high are you when you're not so high. Honestly, this will save us and hopefully our children thousands of dollars on therapy. This line over here. This saying over here, this is mind-blowing. I'm going to read it again. Everybody wants to be high every moment because we think that only when you're high, that's real. But this isn't the secret of life. The secret of life is how high are you when you're not so high. Does anybody know what this is called in Breslov Hasidus? Does anybody know how Reb Nachman calls this whole mahalach? Exactly. Baki beratzel, baki b'shov. That you have to know. Reb Shlomo used to sing this. A person has to know three things. It was like beautiful, what he did with a teaching of Rabbi Nachman, how he sang it, and our dear friend Rabbi David Zeller, Olav Shalom, used to sing it as well, very, very beautifully. A person, you have to know three things. You have to learn how to walk, you have to learn how to fall, and you have to learn how to get up. There's a whole Torah in it. It's not just flying. There's a limud, there's a learning, there's a depth, there's a gift to be found in the art of falling. Not dafka falling, but more like Ratzov Ashov means flying and learning how to land. Flying and learning how to land. You know, if you were only flying, it would stop meaning anything to you. Look what he does here. You know what real love is? Now, what would you tell me if you didn't read ahead? What's real love? What's real love? Real love. We're flying on each other day and night. This is just, oh my God, all those, all those marriage courses that were telling us how to deal with each other when we don't like each other so much. I don't know what they're talking about. Everything is, we're just flying day and night. He says it here so great. And I've said this before. We generally don't, you learn so many of his teachings on soulmates. Sometimes they're so far out that he really is talking about Adam and Eve before they ate from the tree of knowledge. Like the ultimate, the infinite, the eternal love. Look this is such a healthy paragraph. You know what real love is? When you love somebody, don't stop loving them even when you hate them. What does that mean? Now look what he says here. Don't stop being a yidla, even if God forbid you don't want to be a yidla anymore. Don't stop believing in God ever. He was screaming this. Don't stop believing in God ever, even if for one moment you don't believe in him. It's amazing. Don't stop believing in us. It's like, don't let moments that are so low, like not believing in God, convince you that you don't believe in God. This is heavy stuff. This is really, really heavy stuff. It's so beyond. Again, the secret of life is not to be high all the time. The secret of Olam Hazeh, this world, is how much are you high when you're not high. That is the highest. That's the highest there is. It's so hard to remember this though when we're not high, you know that? It's so hard to remember that this is a whole Torah, that this is real, when I really don't believe in God, Not that anyone in this room ever had any doubts about God's existence or, the authenticity of the Torah. Chas v'shalom, that no one has ever had, and definitely not in this room, right? Don't stop believing in God, even if you stop believing in him for 1 minute. Leah Golem she quoted this all the time. How much do you love me when you hate my guts? That's real love. When you have all the legitimate claims to not love, when you have all the legitimate claims not to believe in Hashem, and you still believe in Hashem, and you still love, where is that energy coming from? Where's that? That's coming from Pesach night. The ability to go beyond what my mind says is right and wrong is the matzah. The ability to let go of that which makes sense, and therefore, it's like amazing. How many of us, our emunah, our belief in God, is a business deal? Our high moments in life, they're not really high moments, they're just business deals. It's when I got something amazing. A gift, living like everything is a gift, that really everything really is a gift. Life is a gift. drops all legitimate claims in a marriage. Bezrat Hashem shouldn't have to be a painful teaching. But we have a chassan and kala, at least one of them in the room, maybe even more, I don't know. Maybe you don't even realize you're a chassan and kala, but you will be, who knows? It's like you have to know that holding on to that which you're sure you're right of, you can go to your grave holding on to it with the full, knowing you're right, but you'll be ending up alone in your grave holding on to what you think is right. Matzah takes you out of that whole business ordeal. The light of Seder night takes you out from that whole business ordeal. Now let's go back. After Pesach, I count my days in order to see that every day, every ordinary day, is also a great gift from heaven. When you have a moment in life of feeling special and feeling that life itself is a gift, your world begins to be filled with special moments. So now look what he does here. The day after a very high and precious moment, I walk on the street and I see something so little, so insignificant. Suddenly, it also looks like a gift to me. Like, that's really what life's about. That the highs, the big things that blew your mind, give you the ability to then look at the tiny things that you've never even paid attention to and get high off of those things as well. How much are you high when you're not high? Right? He's buckle up for this ending. That's all I'm going to say. Because what he does now is just so brilliant. Do you know what we began to experience when we counted the Omer? When does the Omer begin? When do we begin counting the Omer? Right after I blew my mind, right? Right after I blew my mind on this night of revelation, God revealed himself to my people. I start counting the Omer. But what is the Omer? Look what he says here. We walked out to the field, took a little grass, and realized it's so special. Right? But what was the korban of the Omer all about? What was the actual sacrifice of the Minchas HaOmer? What did we bring? A bit of wheat. Why? When you taste how special you are, even wheat becomes so special. Look what he says. We walked out to the field, took a little grass, and realized it's so special. It's not even food for a human being, just food for a little sheep. And in other places, he does say little cow. He went back and forth with this. Let me ask you, and now look at these two questions. My wife and I were discussing it last week. Does anything happen to you when you look at the world and realize that God is feeding the animals? You know, did you ever stop by just like wheat and be like, oh my God, God is feeding. This is how God feeds animals. Does that do anything to you? Does it make you shiver when you realize how God is taking care of the world? We're so caught up in our own geshet, we don't realize nature. We don't realize nature. Nature is not special because it's there, it's a given. But after Seder night, I can go and look at all those things that before, as a slave, they don't mean anything to me. But now I'm free to be high off of wheat. I'm free to be, one time I told this to you guys so many times, that one time Reb Shlomo was interviewed on Israeli television in the early 70s, and he was asked, tell us a little bit about you, who are you? And he said, I'm Shlomo, brother, lover of Israel, lover of God, lover of every Jew, non-Jew. And then he stopped and he said, I even love dogs. And he was so serious. Meaning, like, he realized, like, if life really is special, and it's a gift to be a Jew, and it's a gift to have a Torah, and I don't look at the Torah as, but rather, oh wow, what a gift, then everything becomes special. Sfirat HaOmer, I start taking something that's not even edible for man, and I say, look what I'm doing with this. I'm bringing this as a korban, because I'm bringing this I'm also going to sanctify, bring before you. But the question here was, does it make you shiver? The way that God Does it do anything to you? When was the last time you walked past something that was sustaining animal or bless you? Or did you just think, whatever, animals saw there's nothing to eat. So their DNA, they were able to somehow, attune themselves. So I might as well eat this. And that was the first animal, and now every animal's like that. No, this is how God created the world. Now look what it says here. This was the growth which took place after Pesach till Shavuos. After Pesach, I began to realize how God is taking care of all the animals of the world. And by Shavuos, I know how God is taking care of every human being. Now, how do I realize that when God is taking care of every human being? When I realize that everything is special. And when I realize that everything is a gift. But as a free man, it's my choice to look at life as a gift. This is not just going to come down to you permanently. There was one night it came down as a gift. To view life as a gift was a gift from heaven. Then God says, okay, now I want you to own it. I'm giving you the Torah. I want you to be partners with me in creating a world that's special, and a world that's full of gifts. I want you to figure out a way for the next 7 weeks to figure out a way to rid yourselves of all the legitimate claims which you had until now. Because you were babies. As slaves, you were babies, and the babies have a claim. Maybe this will answer until a certain age, until you get the gift of freedom. That's the certain age, whatever that is. And once I'm tuned into that, not only do I have to be high when I'm high, I'm so high even when I'm not high. Because everything in life has meaning, and everything in life becomes special. This is what we're doing during Sfirat HaOmer. This is what we're working on during Sfirat HaOmer. Every aspect of my life, to see the meaning in it, to see the hidden depths and the revealed depths of it, and to see if God placed this in front of me, how much longer am I going to hold on to my legitimate claims and disabilities which paralyzed me until now, to hold me back from tasting that which God places in front of me. So that when I receive the Torah on Shavuos, I can then take the Torah in my life and feel like it's a gift and not that someone's shoving laws down my throat. That my relationship to the Torah is one of special. I grew up so-called frum. I want to tell you, 90% of all the kids I grew up with, 70, maybe 60% of them have nothing to do with Yiddishkeit. And 80% of them don't feel that it's special. Is it their fault? Not bitum. Because they needed teachers who felt that the Torah is special and not a business deal. That it's a gift, that it's a privilege. I know that I speak on behalf of everyone in this room, that we know that Yeshivat Simchat Shlomo, Bezrat Hashem, should continue to have this gift of giving over a gift. Should have this awesome privilege and zchut to continue causing people to dream and to rid themselves of all their legitimate claims, to create real free people, real people that view life as a gift, view life as special, and that are so excited for the privilege of to continue to live in this world and to walk around like special little candles. So what a zchut to get ready for Shavuos together. We'll sing one more good niggun, a special niggun, a gift niggun. Shlomo, you have any announcements? No way. Oh, that's special. Wow. Okay, what are you going Wednesday night?
אני כבר מוכן לשבוע. כמה פרקים כל החלודה עוד זה.
Thank you so much for being here, everyone.
One, as you said in the beginning, you should smile even when you're working on spirituality. But Shlomo says about being high even when you're not high. If you smile when you and remembering how you smiled when you were high, it sometimes brings that back in.
Absolutely.
And also, about Siman Abanim, so Yosef was all about that. It was all about even when he was enslaved, he didn't have a talent of God.
He's the only one. Moshe Rabbeinu
Thank you very much.
How you doing, bro? What are you doing now? Swim your way through Kriyas Yam.
Just been one revelation after another.
I have no idea. You shouldn't. It should be anything much. Good to see you.
I just wanted to say thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
But the Shem will continue. Somehow. I'm saved my life.
I'm so honored. So honored. Wow, wow. I'm so happy. More and more. שנזכה להמשיך, not be